This is Simon Torres, Arsenal supporter of Charm City Gooners. You are listening to DU Football Show, and I'm here to tell you that it could be worse. You could be an Everton fan.
Mel, did your team lose this weekend?
Fuck no.
My team didn't lose this weekend. You know what team did lose this weekend? Simon's fucking Arsenal. That's who fucking lost this weekend.
You know how I know that?
Mm-hmm.
Because Villa fucks, baby.
Villa does fuck. Oh, man. And then we got Danny here to talk Wolves, too. Let's start the show.
Born in the land of Bowie, Maryland. Bred to be a fan of fucking Everton. Punch you in the eye and drink your rye. Sam Houston.
Sam Houston?
Arsenal fans have another Sam. AKA the fucking Gooner Graham. Stump of a lord. Look straight in shorts. Sam Grammy.
Sam Graham.
Fucking United! Fucking United!
Hello and welcome to the DU Football Show, a completely biased recap of the English Premier League as told by two common American schmucks. I am your host, Sam Houston, and away on assignment is our good co-host, Mr. Samuel Graham, because T's got surgery tomorrow, so Godspeed to our favorite listener, Tegan. Hopefully that all goes well. But sitting in, part of the Whole Lot of Wolves pod, one of three Wolves supporters, as he says in his sound drop, in the Baltimore area. Of course, the Baltimore Wolf himself, and regular contributor every year, the Iron Man of the 20 for 20 shit show, our good friend Danny. Danny, how you doing, sir?
Honestly, that introduction, that title, the highlight of Wolves season so far.
Yeah, that's it's sad but true. It really is sad but true. And of course, on the ones and twos, producer Mel. Producer Mel, how we doing over there?
Oh, I'm doing freaking great.
I wonder why.
I went to Philadelphia for the weekend and watched the game on my phone. And anybody that I thought was a soccer fan, I'm like, hey, did you see that Villa beat Arsenal?
Just running around the city.
Yeah.
Going, Villa supporter.
You have an English accent. I literally, to a guy, you have an English accent. What's your team? West Ham. Hey, Villa, we beat Arsenal.
Just one, and then she'll be like, I mean, I don't know about footy. The hell you don't.
It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, it's whatever it is. And the good thing is Mr. Graham somehow conveniently makes sure he's not here when it's time for him to do a shot of Malort. We're recording at the DU Public House just outside the nation's capital. You can check us out wherever you get your podcasts. And, of course, streaming live every single Monday night. Should you want to chat with us, there are as many ways that you can. Danny, tell the good people how they can get in touch.
DU Football Show on all the socials, dufootballshow@gmail.com, and Only Bears on LinkedIn.
There we go. Love it, love it, love it. And how about that? Were you doing it the whole time going, don't say whole lot of wolves, don't say whole lot of wolves, don't say whole lot of wolves, don't say whole lot of wolves?
Yeah, luckily I don't do like the call out for the socials on the show, so I was not that close to it, but I did have the Only Bears joke queued up because that's the only running bit I have on the show.
I love it. I work in the wine and spirit industry, but you know what? Danny used to work in the wine and spirit industry, and we both have a deep, passionate love for all things distilled spirits. So as the red-blooded Americans we are, we vow to have a drink in our hand throughout this show and every single show. What are we sipping on tonight?
Tonight, sipping on the Glenmorangie. It's a 16-year, the Nectar. And you told me something about the barrels that I've already forgotten because I'm a Luddite.
So Nectar, it would be Nectar d'Or, which would reference Sauterne barrels. Okay. So dessert wine from the Bordeaux region of France. Essentially, you take a grape and it has a noble rot to it, so it's an okay mold. Mm-hmm. What that does is it gets all the water out of the grape, makes it very small and very concentrated, full of juice. Very expensive because you're getting rid of all the damn water and you're also waiting for a certain period of time for that mold to set in as well. Glenmorangie will not say this, but they are owned by Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy. They own Chateau Yquem. Chateau Yquem is the exclusive primo top of the fucking food chain Sauterne in the market. They use Chateau Yquem barrels. They don't say it, but they use Chateau King barrels. And it's a wonderful honeysuckle, nice, easy drinker. I wanted to do whiskey without the E tonight. I wanted to do something Scottish just because there's a chill in the air.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to necessarily do something super peaty.
No.
So what do you think, Producer Mel?
I really like it. It's not too hot. It's a nice sipping whiskey. And I do like a little bit of sweetness, but not overwhelming.
Mm-hmm. And Danny, I know you're not a massive whiskey guy, but what do you think?
Yeah, spot on. Same as Mel. I'm like, I appreciate going low on the peat, appreciate going low on the fire. And yeah, a little bit of sweetness is nice. And yeah, I'm going to be enjoying this the whole time.
Yeah, who doesn't like honey, right? Like
Yeah.
honey always tastes good, especially the Only Bear.
Honey, honey. Bop, 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 bop.
All right, and what else should we always do, Producer Mel?
And remember to drink legally and responsibly.
Very good. Cheers, kids. Let's have a...
Ooh.
All right, we're just going to rip the fucking Band-Aid off.
Speaking of which, Taylor Thompson checking in saying Danny seems to have a lot more gray hair than he remembers. Wolves must be a hell of a drug.
That it is.
All right, we open not necessarily with the match, but the club. Most neutrals have kind of thought Wolverhampton may be in a struggle, but not to this level. And frankly, I just want to do a wellness check, buddy.
That's fair.
Manchester United 4, Wolverhampton 1. We'll talk a little bit about the match, but really I kind of want this to be more of a bigger discussion of Wolves itself. Like I said in the intro there, I think we all thought they'd be like 16th to 18th and fighting in the relegation battle, but not epically bad. Like, could possibly be one of the worst teams in the Premier League history, kind of bad. That's how bad it's going right now. And in the match itself, it looked like you guys had some fight. Like the first half, it was there. You're not, even in the second half when they started to get away with the game, it wasn't like your boys weren't running. It wasn't like they weren't trying. It just, the pieces just aren't fucking there.
Yeah. Well, the first part that you said about the expectations about being around 16th or whatever, I think that was my prediction on your opening show.
It was.
And I think that you could almost clip that word for word and assume that our owners thought that too. That, we're going to be down there, but it's really not going to be a problem. There's always at least two really bad teams that come up. And there's always one other team that's struggling with you. So we're not really going to have a problem here.
Yeah.
And they didn't account for the possibility of just completely falling apart as you're building the ship.
or the fact that, like, Sunderland is fucking killing it. Like, they are absolutely exceeding expectations. And Burnley's in the drop right now, and Leeds are just above the drop, but both teams have fight.
Yeah.
Like, it ain't any, especially if you're going into Turf Moor or into Ellen Road, they're going to give you a tough match.
Yeah.
Like, it's not going to be easy. And, I mean, everyone seems to be walking into your building and easily getting 3.
Oh, yeah.
I look at, like, our match earlier in the season that was 3-2.
Yeah.
And it never felt like it was in question.
Yeah.
Like, it felt like Everton were in control. Like, the score line says otherwise, and you pushed at the end, but it was like Everton walked away with the match. Like, that just, and it's been kind of feeling like that a lot. And we'll get to the owners in a second, but you kind of look at the team as a whole, and it's like, yes, the players have to produce, right? But it's kind of hard to blame the fucking players.
Right.
And then you look at the coaches, and it's like, it's kind of hard to blame Vitor, and it's really kind of hard to blame Edward. Like, it's all the owner's fucking fault, man. It's completely the ownership's fault, right?
Yeah, pretty much. So it's like, I know you've kind of like invited me to like do as deep a deep dive as I want to do, because we're going to spend as much time as we want on this.
Yes.
It's going to be so hard to keep these thoughts organized. So
that's fine.
Yeah.
I'll bring you back if I think you've gone
there's
somewhere.
so many elements to this. And I think a lot of it is the fact that I think Wolves fly under the radar in general. So like even when Wolves were doing pretty well after they got promoted to back-to-back 7th place finishes, I think obviously there's a bit of fanfare for a team coming up and finishing 7th and going to Europe, definitely. But then when I watched other teams come up and the sort of like attention that they got, I'm not like particularly bitter about attention. I don't particularly care about like having the stories, but it's more that like I noticed that like in terms of the British national media, there's not like just a ton of conversation about Wolves, whether it's good or bad.
Right.
And so then when it does come around to like, oh, this Wolves team isn't very good, the easiest story to write is like, oh, well, this fucking Gary O'Neill, like who the hell does he think he is or whatever. And like, look, plenty of managers have had their deficiencies. Plenty of players at our club have had their deficiencies. But the obvious through line is just like year-on-year decline of selling good players, bringing in ones who are like kind of okay, or maybe like a younger version of that player that you just sold who might end up being as good as that player, but then may or may not pan out. And like, I think that the Wolves hierarchy, and really I'm just talking about Jeff Shee, the chairman here, because he is like Fosun's man. There isn't really anybody else left at the club who like is independently powerful, as powerful as Jeff Shee. They're all people who have had to survive Jeff Shee firing other people. So in order to survive that, they do what Jeff Shee says.
Yeah, you keep your mouth fucking shut to keep your job.
And I also want to say at this point that I'm going to try to keep the comparisons to like the current U.S. administration to a minimum. But the similarities of like weird tech oligarch of like person who thinks they're invincible and like doesn't understand why everyone thinks they're out of touch are like pretty triggering this season, along with like the stuff that's happening in the world. But yeah, Jeff Shee's a real piece of work. He's kind of insane. He admitted when he came over along with the ownership that like he didn't really know anything about football, and he's like, but I'm quick to learn and I like want to learn these things. And I think he kind of got by with like the good early decisions and sort of not being in the public eye.
Well, those good early decisions too weren't his. It was listening to an agent.
Right.
That's what it was.
And the more that he has gotten rid of people, kind of like you just said, you know, the more that players have left or managers have left or people in just the staff, you know, people who are in charge of the football operations or even the commercial operations have left and things have started to decline. It's like, well, you're getting rid of everyone. And so it's really hard for me to say that it's anybody but you that's making this worse.
Right.
But yeah, I think that you will probably understand as well as anybody the precariousness of Wolves' situation over the last, let's say 3 years, but really since COVID is like the decline. I think that there was a change in Fosun's, that's our ownership company, a change in their sort of idea about how they wanted to run the club. It wasn't particularly well communicated because it wouldn't be very popular to just say like, oh, well, we want to be self-sustainable, which means we don't want to put any more money in, which is like all well and good to imagine that you're going to be like Brighton picking these perfect players who are, you know, 20 years old and you're going to sell them 2 years later for like double the money.
Right.
But like that takes infrastructure, that takes scouting and all sorts of things.
Phenomenal scouting. And you also need a guy at the helm that isn't going to go,
right,
I don't know much about it, but I'll figure it out. Wrong guy to be doing it.
Yeah. And meanwhile, I think like I said, for an Everton fan, you know, like I remember when we first came up, you know, the way that Everton were at the time with like a kind of scattered ownership that really wasn't making very good decisions. And I think that there was a lot of fury from Everton fans, not necessarily about like decisions being bad, which sucks. Like it sucks to have players who aren't good and to lose games, but more that like they don't maybe understand the precarity of the situation where it's like you guys had 2 or 3 seasons at least where it's like, hey, I know that you, the ownership, think that these players will be like good enough to get 15th or whatever. But like all it takes is for their like confidence to collapse and for like our home to no longer be a fortress and suddenly like you're down 20 points from what your expectation was and you're like in danger. And that's kind of like what I think Wolves fans are experiencing right now, which is like a lot of like, I don't know, a lot of the really grumpy people who are now saying like, I told you so, you know, like, of course you're going to be right eventually. But like, the point is that it's like, yeah, we've been telling you this whole time that like, this is a precarious game you're playing, selling good players, bringing in people that we know are either not as good as those players, or we're paying way too much of a premium for someone who's like just about as good.
Yeah.
Just to get someone in the door. We're handicapping ourselves on the field and financially. And I don't think you understand the precarity of like, okay, 2 good promoted teams is all it takes. And then kind of missing out on like the manager merry-go-round that happens early in the season where it's like, okay, well now these other teams that were struggling with you like aren't struggling quite as much. And like, sure, it's going to suck for West Ham or Forest or whoever to finish 17th and they'll be scared the whole way. But like, you don't want to bank on them getting 18th instead of 17th. Like that's an insane way to believe.
Right. You can, there is a world you can live in where you go, we're not going to win the league. We're not going to be a European team, but we're going to contend week in and week out. We're going to pull off some wins. We're going to get some shocking results. We're going to get that, we're going to make the win against Liverpool be the highlight of the year, right? Like that can be done, and you can do that with putting minimal effort in. And I think the parallel I really like to compare to what you're doing on the sales side of things is Southampton before they went down the first time, where they just literally fed every fucking player they could to Liverpool or to Manchester United, and then did zero investment in return.
Yeah.
Or get the investment completely fucking wrong. And in your instance, it was like, you have really good fucking players.
Right.
You have really good players, but you don't have a complete team. Like, Strand Larson is a 15 goal scorer in this league, and he will be for another team next year.
Yeah.
But the guys who got him the ball, the 3, because one ended up leaving on a free. The ones who primarily got him the fucking ball are all gone.
Yeah.
And you got no one to, I don't know, feed the big man in the middle of fucking ball.
Yeah.
It's just insanity.
This is where we're going to go even deeper. Just to say that, like, Jeff Shee had this idea last season, seemingly, that, like, okay, Vitor Pereira has something here in terms of, like, a relationship with the fan base that the club does not have currently. Which is Jeff Shee's own fault, but he won't say it that way, I'm sure.
Well, it's Vitor is slightly fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Right?
And the points and the
anybody
pints.
that's in the greater Brummy area, slightly fucking crazy. Right?
And the points and the pints, and that was all great.
Yeah.
And there was this connection with the fans that really seemed to recapture something. Fine. The way that ended up was him saying, okay, Vitor, you're our Fergie. Like, this is a guy who hasn't spent more than 18 months at a club. And I personally, thought Vitor was, a perfectly fine replacement level manager who also was, kind of crazy, but also, very, spoke to the fans on their own level. And I value that. But, he basically wanted to demote our sporting director or whatever title we had him on, Matt Hobbs. But really, it was just shoving him out the door. It was I'm going to offer you a demotion that you're never going to take, and you're just going to leave. And the purpose of that was to bring in Vitor's friend who he'd worked with at Al-Shabaab, Domenico Tetti, who, is really not a seasoned sporting director. This is a guy who's more friends with Vitor than he is, a sporting director.
Right.
And, when you're in that kind of job, it's all about, the connections that you have, the friends that you have in the business who you can, get a deal out of. And so we basically, ripped up our recruiting structure for this manager to sort of direct. Domenico Tetti was not so much a sporting director as he was a liaison between Vitor Pereira and the recruitment team. And it's just this is, and everybody saw it at the time. All the fans were this is not a good idea. Even though in this moment after 6 wins straight, we love Vitor, don't do this.
Well, very common in sports, all sports across the globe, is your general manager, your president of operations, whatever that person is that handles personnel decisions, and the head coach shouldn't fucking get along.
Right.
They shouldn't like each other. It should be that person going, these are the pieces this club needs.
Yeah.
This is what we need. And you, as a professional fucking coach, are going to make it fucking work.
Right.
And then they are to sit there and bitch and moan about the one thing they want. So eventually that executive gives them the one thing they really want, not the 10 things they really want.
Yeah.
There has to be this conflict. And if it's a yes man, it's one of fucking Vince's boys in Entourage.
Yeah.
They're just going to say yes to him. Like,
Yeah. And then on the other hand is like the stuff that you know about, which is the Jorge Mendes stuff. You know, the more I sort of familiarize myself with this or refamiliarize, I mean, it comes up every so often. But there was a really good article that got put out around the time that Fosun took over, I think. Certainly while they were still in the championship. And basically this pointed out that like Fosun's relationship with Jorge Mendes predated their buying Wolves. So like Fosun had this stake in Jorge Mendes' agency Gestafoot before they owned Wolves, and their ambition seems to have been to like be involved in the player trading market because that's a place where you can make money. And then they're like, how do we do that? We'll buy a club. And like, I'm probably vastly oversimplifying, but the point is that like,
keep it simple. But
their
I know our listeners.
Yeah, their
I know
relation.
me.
Yeah, their relationship with Jorge Mendes is much more complicated than like, oh, we really like this guy and he gives us good deals. It's more like we own 20% of his company. We get some money from what he's doing regardless. And so like anything that he offers us is probably in Jeff Shee's mind like discounted. Like, oh, well, Jorge Mendes is making money off of this. That goes to Fosun. So like even if the sticker price is a certain amount for Wolves FC, like in terms of real money that we're spending, it's actually a little bit lower. So like a weird example of it is we brought in this guy from Celta Vigo, Fer Lopez, who seems like a really classy sort of number 10 style. Like he's physically stronger than a lot of guys who would come out of La Liga. He played with Jurgen Strand-Larsen. That seems like great. He's 19 years old. He's like Fabio Silva, but he has more first team minutes, but not by a ton.
Fabio Silva was going to be one of the ones that brought up Fabio Silva for 50 fucking million when he's a teenager.
It's kind of an okay deal if you have the rest of the team built around him. Like if you have the team that Pedro Neto walked into who were competing in Europa League, you know, that's a perfectly fine choice.
Perfect.
But like this kid to come in and be half of the replacement along with Jean Arias of Cunha is like insane. And then when you consider that like Jorge Mendes makes money off the initial transfer, and now that he hasn't been used by two different head coaches, they're talking about he might go back to Celta Vigo or somewhere else on loan in January. And that's basically just Jorge Mendes protecting the value of his asset. Jorge Mendes is going to make money off of that loan transfer again. And then when you consider that Gestafoot are probably making money off the back end from Gestafoot, like it just shows how like this muddled concept of ownership that they have, and especially the like insane ramblings of our chairman, Jeff Shee, which I have a really great little piece of show and tell for you.
Please go for it. Let's hear it. Because it was going to say, ultimately, you need that. The chairman needs to know what the fuck he's doing, right? It's fine to bring in young talent if you can work them in slowly into a team.
Yeah.
And you also don't spend 50 fucking million on them.
Yeah.
You spend 5 million on them. That's how our clubs, that's where we live, right?
Yeah.
And then when you need a piece, you pick up the salary of Jack Grealish and bring him in on loan, right?
Yeah.
Or you pull the big money on a Tyler Dibbling because you don't have to play him. He'll work his way into the lineup, but it baffles me. So please, I would love to hear the random musings of a tech bro that thinks he knows how to fucking run a football team.
Really strap in for this. And I have to abridge it heavily because it's very long. So the Express and Star is one of the local newspapers in Wolverhampton, and I think they serve other areas as well. He started to do a quarterly piece for them. He won't sit down to do interviews anymore. He hasn't done that since, I would say, just after COVID. And he started to just do these like pieces where he would send them into the Express and Star and they would just print them. And they were like, fine, I guess this is all we can get. We can't get an interview. So like, go ahead. And I think that they were meant to be sort of like State of the Union, like here we are, whatever. But like the club was always kind of like in like various states of chaos. And so he could never really write a like, things are going good. And so like, so here's one from May 23rd, 2024. So you'll remember that is the summer, I guess before Gary, like during Gary O'Neill's summer between his fill-in season
when the Wolves
and his,
came over. That was the summer the Wolves came over to Annapolis. Yep.
So this is Wolves chairman Jeff Shee's column on long-term sustainability, Gary O'Neill's performance, and season ticket prices. This is how it starts. The Three Body Problem is an excellent sci-fi novel written by Liu Shijin. The book won the Nebula Award in 2015 and was adapted to a TV series by Netflix in 2024. In the story, human beings were lower creatures compared to the invading aliens who had much more advanced science and technology.
What the fuck?
He goes on to describe the first episode. A football club is a very unique business. In my view, successful examples from other industries or even from other clubs are not always adoptable here. It's not easy to give the club a clear identity. I personally don't like the way some people call us a project, which implies short-term objective. I am also not in favor that we are often described as the stewards, whose job is just to safeguard Wolves. In fact, by our nature, we are entrepreneurs who seek for business and commercial values relentlessly.
Then why'd you buy a fucking football club? It is renowned in sports that you buy a sports team for the love of it, not to make money, because you ain't making, you are going to lose money on this proposition.
There's about like 3 football clubs in the world that make money, and it's because they're so utterly massive that there's people in every of the 200 countries in the world buying shirts from them.
Right. Well, and that just applies to sports in general. An NFL team, an NBA team, like, you don't buy it because you're going to make a fucking profit. Like, you just don't. No.
He goes on to talk about where they were when they bought Wolves and how difficult things were for Wolves beforehand, which some tugging at heartstrings there. This is the part that really has been, thrown in his face a lot since then. He said, fans also play an important role. If you only pursue trophies or consistent European football, Wolves might not be an ideal choice. If you only love your local team and don't mind their supporting achievements, Wolves may not be one either.
What the fuck?
What a sales pitch. That's it, Sam. I don't know how I can be a Villa supporter anymore.
Let me go support Wolves.
You can kind of see what he's doing, which is like,
tempering expectations.
It's like, we're going to have ups and downs. So
You're going to have a lot of fun. Don't worry about wins.
No
We're a
glory hunters
participation
allowed or
trophy.
something. But
Oh
it's
my
like,
God.
I don't know. Look, I will freely admit, I was a glory hunter. Wolves came up and were exciting, and that happened to be the time that I started watching the Premier League more frequently.
Perfectly fine.
And I just think that, that is instructive. There will always be glory hunters inside the city limits of Wolverhampton or far-flung across the globe. And you want to capitalize on those people coming in at the right time and being hooked forever.
Right. Making them love the club forever. Yes, producer Mal.
Geckel in the chats. You make money when you sell a sports team. Newsflash. You're not going to make a profit selling a championship team.
Yeah, exactly. And it's oh my God. I'm baffled that you don't say the quiet part out loud, right? Because the answer is we're going to survive. We're going to stay in the Premier. We're going to stay in the best league in the world.
Yeah.
And we're going to always aspire to be in Europe.
Yeah.
That may not always happen, but we're always going to aspire to that.
Yeah.
And fucking it happened for Leicester. Why the fuck can't it happen for us?
Yeah.
And that, especially the fact that Leicester did what Leicester did. Every football club that isn't one of the big 6 should be like, they fucking did it.
Yeah.
All it needs to be is the right year. And at the start of the summer, when that first kickoff happens and you start the season 5-0, go, why not us?
Yep.
It could be us. It could be, don't, there's going to be ups and downs. You're going to have to just deal with it. And we're not always going to be good.
The backdrop of those comments were that they recently hiked ticket prices pretty substantially, season ticket prices, which I think a lot of people have pointed to one of the reasons that Molineux has been not nearly as rowdy, and also that protests have been hard to get started because a lot of the, salt of the earth people who go to sporting events
Can't afford a ticket.
aren't there anymore.
Yeah.
And I don't know. This is a whole US UK difference thing, but But like, there's a bunch of stuff in there that was just like, again, insane own goals. When I talk about Jeff Shee being an insane person, I think like a lot of people always want to cast him. It's just like kind of human nature. Like, oh, Elon Musk has a bunch of money. That guy must be so fucking smart. And it's like the same thing with Jeff Shee, where it's like you assume, especially a corporation,
right?
They must be so focused on numbers. The only thing they can do is make money. They might make some heartless decisions, but they're going to make money. And I'm like, no, they're also idiots.
Yeah.
Because like at the time, they hiked season ticket prices pretty substantially. And one of the arguments in that article was like, we're benchmarking against other teams that we feel like we are in the realm of. And he literally listed them. And it's like, we're benchmarking against teams like Villa because of like stadium capacity and recent sporting achievements. And it's like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? Like Villa barely stayed up and now they're above us. Like, how do you relate these two events to where Wolves are right now?
Hey, Villa are in the fucking title hunt.
Yeah. Well, like,
in the fucking hunt.
Shh, don't tell anyone else. We're keeping that a secret.
In the moment that he wrote that, like, I think it was equally in people's minds that like Villa had recently been in a lot of trouble, and now they were not in trouble. And it's like, how are you making this weird comparison? Focus on your own damn team. Like, what are you doing, dude?
Hey, they have been able to, with the financial constraints,
Yeah.
they've loaned in for the right people, right? You think of like, you know, Rashford, it's Sancho, guys like that. Are they really necessarily great for them in the league? No.
Yeah.
But they've played Champions League.
Right.
And you use them on that, and they cost you less money.
Yep.
Right? You're able to make those moves. You do the hard sale. You sell the Jacob Ramsey, right? That you didn't really want to sell as a homegrown, but you make that sale and then you invest it in the right fucking spots, and you're savvy and you have people that know where to find little gems that can fit into your team. And that team is fucking second in the fucking Europa standings and third in the fucking league and just beat the first place team. Like, you can do it, right? You can absolutely do it. And I think that's what Newcastle has learned, because Newcastle threw a bunch of money at it, got into Champions League, and then went, oh shit, we can't spend any money, fell down the table, right? And now it figured out what is the balance.
Well, and that's another great example, kind of like I said with Everton's recent pass, is like, you know, Newcastle before the new ownership, say what you will, but like Newcastle, you know, we're very much in that same place where it's just like incredibly like almost delinquent ownership, where it's like the fans are just tearing their hair out saying like, you don't know, you're playing with fire here.
Right.
Like, you think that you're being a smart businessman.
You're begging for this to go wrong.
Yeah, by being cheap, but like you're begging for it to go wrong.
Yeah. Mel, you got one for us?
In the chats, BX Gunner brought up Blackburn and Leicester defied the odds.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's exactly it. Like you can defy the odds. You can do it. Now, Leicester was more of a surprise. Blackburn, that team was very much purchased. Like they were on the cusp of being there, and back in the early 90s it didn't cost you a ton, but like they brought on players very specifically to win themselves a title. But again, those are two teams that are currently in the championship.
Yeah.
You know what they have? A fucking Premier League shit title, which is something I know none of us in this room can fucking say, right? And
no, not yet.
I hear you. Yeah. But why, like, the fact that the ownership group here, in fact, here we go. Is this group interested in selling the club at all, or are they perfectly fine with running it the way it is and they just don't give a shit?
Okay. Now this is getting into some serious speculation. I want to give you a couple more Jeff Shee things real quick.
Please.
So, and definitely bring me back to that, because it's a whole thing.
Go for it.
So real quick, the first obvious own goal for Jeff Shee, again, this guy, despite seeming to be a chief executive who is like, I mean, a CEO is basically just like a cheerleader. Like, your job is just to hype the business and like make other people do all the actual work.
Right.
He did an interview in-house, of course, at the end of the transfer window. So, you know, we're 3 or 4 games in, and haven't won, as you can imagine. And first question, very obvious, how do you think our transfer window went? And first thing out of his mouth, I think it was a good window. And it's like, I can tell you, I have posted that clip of him saying I think it was a good window basically after every single game that we played. And it's just like, how big of an idiot do you have to be to see like the season that we had last season with the players that we had and the sales that we then had? And like, even if you feel confident, we've recruited gems that nobody knows about. No one's going to see this team coming. Even if you feel confident in that, I'm never saying those words, because if I'm wrong, people are going to clip it up and post it every single time.
Well, you look at like Andre and Yao Gomez, right? Like Latin, obviously this year they haven't been in tune. They haven't been doing well, but for the last couple of seasons, low key, one of the best midfield pairings in the fucking league.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like that fucking good. Like really, really good. And they are going to be people that other clubs poach.
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if people came for them in January.
I will not be surprised at all.
And then you look at like, some of the signings haven't worked out. The cat who was so incredible on defense that you got in January last year.
Agbadou, yeah.
That has been a disaster so far. Like, I mean, those kind of things happen, right?
Yeah.
But just the team's fucking baffling to me because there's pieces.
Yeah.
The team's decent. They've got good players.
Yeah, the way I describe it is like, most of these players, they're a handful, and I don't really like beating up on players. I'm not going to name names, but like there are a handful of players who are like, these players aren't really good enough, and that's not their fault. They were brought in, like they're not good enough.
Right.
But most of the team feels like players who are good enough for a 10th to 12th place team if you had other better players around them. Like there are players I have seen at Wolves during Wolves' more successful times that are like, yeah, these are role players who are good at what they do.
Feels, for me, you have a decent spine.
Yeah.
And then the flanks are just a fucking mess.
Yeah, well, everybody, the common thing now is, now we're getting distracted, but we're going
to come back to the ownership, trust me.
The common thing now is for any time one of our right wing backs starts, is for the other right wing back to suddenly be like, oh, well, why didn't he start them? Because it's like, no, they're both as bad as each other.
Right.
Like, every time one of them plays, someone's like, this person is basically not a football. Like, this person just learned to play the sport. Why is he ever starting Hoover instead of Chachua? And it's like, then Chachua will start. They'll say the same thing. It's like, guys, we only have 2 right wing backs. There is not another option. We have Matt Doherty, and he's currently injured, and he's also like 32.
Yeah. You have to start one of them, and then just let that one play. Just let them fucking play.
Yeah.
They're going to figure it out, or they aren't. And then after a few months, if they don't, then you go to the other guy.
Yeah. But like, to the point, it's like, Matt Doherty is a great example. As a right wing back in his previous stint at Wolves, had tons of glaring drawbacks to his game. He just like, there were parts of his game he could not do that well. He's not particularly fast. Willy Bolly covered for him. And he could be in that team that was much better than him because he played a role. And like, they've just assembled a weird Frankenstein team out of like these kind of like role players who are like in themselves not that bad. I think like a bunch of them could land in Premier League teams, not like top Premier League teams, but like, but easily, if you put them into a functional team with a system, a lot of them could be fine.
Imagine how many goals Strand Larson would have if Jack Grealish and Ilian Njai were feeding him the ball.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, he'd already be on double digits.
Put the ball on his feet. He'll take a shot.
He'd already be on double digits.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah.
Like, easily.
I want to get to this one last Jeff Shee thing
please.
because it's the best one, which is that he did a Business of Sport podcast during the summer. This was like one of the few like interviews that he did, but obviously it's pretty like scripted and whatever. I watched the whole thing for my sins, just because I wanted to find all the times he said the word esports. But
that's right. You have a killer esports program, right?
yeah, they talked to him briefly about football, and he was talking about like their sort of like their journey and like the ups and downs of it. And again, one of these like baffling PR own goals for me, whatever baggage he has with Nuno. And like, look, every Wolves fan loves Nuno, but also I think every Wolves fan also knows that like behind the scenes, like Nuno's a difficult person to work with, like a lot of the people are at the top level. Yeah, that stuff. So like, I don't know what the truth is out there. I do know Jeff, she's a prick, so like I'm more inclined to take Nuno's side on this one.
Right.
But they asked him about that, and he described that period under Nuno as being a bit lucky. And basically saying, like, I think that, like, the only way to read it to me was that he was saying, like, well, that was the aberration, but maybe, like, our level, because of what we can spend and whatever, is closer to, like, 13th or whatever, whereas, like, finishing 7th twice is lucky. And let me tell you, if I'm Nuno sitting there currently at Forest when he said that, it was during the summer, as like just got into Europe with this team that no one really thought was ready for it, I would be sitting there and be like, don't call him. Don't call him right now. Like, do not leave him a nasty message.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Nuno loses his job famously, and every Wolves fan on Twitter is like, oh my God, Nuno is free. Go get him, Jeff. And it's like, I was like screaming to myself, just like, why do you think Nuno would ever come back to this dude who said that the only good period of Wolves time when Nuno was in charge was basically lucky? And it's like, you know what, Jeff? You're right. You were lucky, just not the way that you think. You were lucky to land a person who could like work within your insane system and still create a functioning football team. And let me tell you, when they were looking for a new manager, when they finally sacked Vitor, I think if I were Nuno, that's when I would have snapped and I would have called him and hoped that it goes to voicemail and leave him like a 10-minute message. Just be like,
laying into him.
Just be like, dude, what the fuck are you talking about?
And in that rant, I would have been like, you know what? Whoever this next guy is, sign him for the remainder of the year. And then when you start off on a shitty do what you normally do. Give him the vote of confidence, a 5-year deal, and fire him 2 weeks later so you can pay him off. Let him walk. Like, they've done that twice now where they just pay, like, he's our guy. Contract extension, less than a month later, out the door.
Again, how many times can you say, like, oh, that was our old sporting director who made that terrible decision? It's like, well, you've hired the last 3 sporting directors, and they've all made these terrible choices. So now let's talk about the ownership, and I will try not to take too long because I actually don't know that much about Fosun. They're like a crazy multinational conglomeration based in China. They mostly do like pharmaceutical and real estate and all sorts of things. So this is like, they have like this one little sports section, which is mostly just Wolves FC, but it's like under this umbrella of like their Wolves Sports Group or whatever, which also, of course, houses their esports venture, which uses the Wolves logo in various ways. So there's a lot of questions about like whether they would actually be interested in selling because it might entail them having to give up that logo. Now, I find that to be a little bit dubious. I'm not like clued into esports, but I just feel like if even they're like a top 30 esports team, if you're like up there, like esports teams rebrand occasionally, and it would really not be that hard to me to like change the name to something legally distinct, but still use pretty much the same colors and no one would care.
And esports pretty much live and die off of advertisement.
Right.
So whoever the sponsor with the most money is coming, be like, I'm eBay now, baby.
Yeah.
Like whoever gives you the money, that's who it's going to be.
They have plans allegedly to build an esports arena. Fosun do.
Okay.
For some number of tens of or hundreds of millions of dollars. Meanwhile, Molyneux like can't get a paint job. It's just like, it's all very bizarre. My understanding of their stance on sales is that like they would always be interested in selling it, but their price is always extremely inflated.
Yeah. They're gonna want to profit.
Yeah, 400 million, please. And people are like, no.
Do you think then that the league could ultimately step in and be like, you're just not good stewards, it's time for you to fucking sell? Because like they've done that before where they're just like, okay, asshole, time to get rid of the team.
I mean, unfortunately, I think that like we are at the level of like that has to be in the conversation. I don't know. It's kind of like the whole question about like, you know, will Wolves double dip? It's like, I don't want to predict anybody's going to double dip, but also we're so mismanaged at this point. I really can't rule it out. So it has to be in the conversation.
All right. Now, final question. And then you get your final words. Which flavor are we doing over here? Because you did lose a fucking game and you're not getting away without doing a shot on Malort.
Yeah, so you're going to make me do like 14 of those?
You want to do OG, barrel-aged, or pumpkin spice white girl mistakes?
Oh my God. Don't give me the pumpkin spice. Just do the barrel-aged.
Barrel-aged.
I think I did regular last time.
Alrighty.
This one goes out to my boy Todd in Minnesota. big Malort fan.
Mm-hmm. I always find
He's probably not listening.
I always
but that's
find
fine.
pleasure in there's the people that are, that most people, it's like, oh, it's the punishment. And then you see the Midwest people. And
Yeah.
they're like, oh, no, this is the victory shot. Especially Chicagoans.
That's what
They're
they do. When Wolves win, they do a shot of Malort. They haven't had Malort since April.
Yeah. Where us, it's the other way around. So parting words as you do your shot of Malort.
I hope that Fosten have sold Jeff Shee down the river by the next week.
How do you remember it? The cough says it all.
You can never really prepare yourself for it.
No, you never can. You never can. Mel, do you have something for us there?
I'm just waiting for the next segment.
The weekend was full of crazy results, but we are going to focus on a couple of crazy finishes. Villa 2, Arsenal 1, Leeds 3, Liverpool 3. Cagey match for the most part with Villa and Arsenal, and it felt very much like a match where both teams were going to be content with a draw. Like it was, Arsenal knew they could lose. They've lost in that building before. Make sure we don't fuck it up. We're missing our two primary center backs. Get out of this thing with a draw. And it felt like Emery's idea was just, look, don't overdo it. Keep them at bay. They're fully capable of still scoring goals on us. Let's just see it out and get a draw. And that's how the whole thing played out till the very fucking end.
Right.
That's what Buendia does, dude. That's what Buendia does.
First off, great goal from Cash, and that was a missed assignment on the back end by Arsenal. And the defense is down to like the 5th, 6th, 7th guy. And those are guys who've played in the Premier League when you look at somebody like Ben White, but it's just like you could tell that if you're smart and methodical about how you do it, you can get at that defense, and that's exactly what Villa did.
I'm going to keep bringing it back to Wolves occasionally because
it's what you fucking know. And besides,
and also I don't have the ability to watch other games at this point. I've done my research for the show. But I will say that if we had the number of injuries to our back line that Arsenal did, you'd start seeing members of the coaching staff on the field.
Yeah.
I do not doubt it.
Yeah. Oh, of course. And besides, if Graham's going to come in here and do pro Arsenal agenda, by all means, pro Wolves agenda is perfectly fine, Danny. I mean, how pro can it be? I mean, you got 2 fucking points right now, but it can be pro. And then, of course, what you have seen this whole season, Arteta's subs make a difference. And Trossard gets the goal. And like I said, it just seemed like it was going to be all said and done until the very end. And this is, I would say, if Graham was here, I would say the very end of that match, that's the first time you really missed Gabriel and Saliba.
Yeah.
Because that
Should
ball
I
is
call him?
bouncing around. I mean, you can see if he answers. I mean,
that's
he
a
might
little
answer.
cunty of me, but I feel like it.
Yeah, see if he answers. I'm good for it.
Hey, Loveline.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, really. I don't think he's going to answer.
Yeah, he might be feeding the kids.
Let me riddle me this. If he picked up, would we hear the smoke detector chirp in the background? Is he that kind of guy?
He is that PG County,
Yeah, yes. Definitely.
I can say that because I'm from PG.
Yes, definitely would.
Ironically,
Definitely
his wife would make her furious.
Oh yeah, well, because she's Anne Arundel County forever. So all right, all good. That it felt like in that moment, because it was this comedy of errors, and it was just like, I guarantee you, as Gooner supporters, you're just like, kick the ball up the field.
Yes.
One ball that goes 40 yards, and the rest, the whistle's in the mouth, and the game's over.
Right.
And they just couldn't do it. And Mel, I'm not sure if you saw that Villa put this up, but they did that whole thing to My Heart Will Go On.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
And Buendia hitting the ball going to the back of the net is right into the "You're here." It's like
Latin men they got great timing with dance moves and music. I mean, what can you say?
The last time I did that particular meme for something for Wolves, it was somebody at the halftime competition finally hit the ball through the hole in the goal. And it had been like 5 years. They've been doing this competition for like 5 years.
Somebody finally did it. You're like, yes!
So that's the level that. So if Jeff Shee is listening, the benchmark for Villa versus Wolves is the guy kicking the ball into the hole in the thing,
Right.
versus everybody beating Arsenal.
Right, at the death. And I mean, it's a smash and grab, right? But Arsenal, you gave them the opportunity.
Yeah.
All you had to do was get the ball out of the box, and the whistle's blown, and you couldn't do it. And I mean, for Villa, I mean, are they in a title hunt?
It never occurred to me until you said it, and I'm like, well, we are in second.
Third now because City jumped because they won.
Yeah.
But
back to like a normal spot.
But you're within 3 points.
Yeah.
And you're on fire. 8 of your last 9. You're
Sounds
just
so weird.
The only reason I push back is just because I actually watched.
Consistency.
Yeah, I watched the first half of that game because that was the day we got our Christmas tree. I've got to protect my own sanity somehow.
Yeah, of course.
But like, man, both of those teams seem so gassed, even in the first half. And it just makes me wonder about, here we go. We got something?
yeah.
Hello?
Hello?
Hi. Just checking in on you.
Hi, caller. You're on the DU Football Show. How you doing, bud?
Hi, Colliner.
was it?
Name, location, and team you support.
I thought this might have been like War of the Roses or something.
Yeah.
After what y'all did to us on Saturday.
Oh,
We're
man.
talking about Villa being in a title hunt right now. It's kind of weird.
Well, I said it on. I said it just a few minutes ago.
Going no fucking way.
So it's worth going ahead and just asking you right now, Sam. This was the question I would have asked you if you were in the room. Is this the first time you really were like, fuck, we need Saliba and Gabriel?
Yeah, I think Mosquera and Hincapie probably would have got through it together. But throwing Jury and Timber in there, I mean, hasn't played center back in 2 years.
Yeah.
Hasn't needed to. I think that was a bit too much of a change, and where it got very helter-skelter there at the end. Obviously, so not the best, but those things can happen. I mean, Villa are a good team, and they put us in a bad spot.
Well, I mean, the good news is you're now going to go to Wolves and let them get their first win of the season, right?
No, not a chance. Bro.
Also to the Emirates, so.
Oh, it's at the Emirates. Okay, I thought it was at the Molineux.
Someone's gonna get a
Yeah,
hug,
no, I mean,
dude.
it might as well be in League One than the state y'all are in, Danny. Jesus Christ. We could play at Grimsby Town's pitch and still beat your ass. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah. Oh, Graham, what is the? A few weeks ago, you were like, "Let's get through December," but I feel like this team's got the mettle to do it. What's the thought process now that it's it's within a game, like the top spot's now within 2 points?
I still think we have it. To be completely honest, I mean, City. Look what happened against Leeds. We spoke about last week. Obviously, their midweek wasn't particularly great with the Fulham result, which we spoke about on Thursday. This weekend was a bit more comprehensive, but I mean, City can get got at, and I think teams are starting to realize that. Even more so than last season, because a lot of the talk was City fixed it right at the beginning of the year, and then teams were like, "Wait a second, there's still no Rodri. There's still kind of leaking stuff. There's a huge controversy over signing Trafford and then Donnarumma, and a little bit of unrest in the goalkeeping position. So let's fucking have a go again." And they have been doing that. The problem is Haaland doesn't have the same goal drop he did last year,
Right.
which would be super helpful if he would.
Well, and it's also Foden has found his feet again, which is very helpful for them because this time last year he was barely playing and offering nothing, and now he's I think 4 in his last 5. I think he is for goals.
I mean, there were 2 braces, so at least that. No, he scored last time out as well. I think it was. I think it's 5 in his last 5.
Yeah. So I mean, he's putting the ball in the back of the net. So that can't be good because then it means teams can't just focus on Haaland, which is worked for a few teams here recently. Is focus on Haaland, don't let him score.
It worked for us once,
but it seems that with Foden starting to find his way, that's not good. That's for damn sure.
I mean, it's not the most encouraging thing that's ever happened. No, completely agree. But again, I think we still have to play them as well. So right. I mean, we could even if they were to catch up a bit, there is still a chance that we could extend that lead at that point.
Yeah. In all fairness, they all have to come to your building now. Like
right. City do not.
Okay,
I think that our game was. Yeah, I think we have to go to City, but that's where. Honestly, last season we should have won that game. If you remember, we had the Trossard sent off for what I still believe is kind of a bullshit.
Yeah, the kicking the ball
bullshit
away.
Card.
Yeah,
which the referee was blowing the whistle simultaneously. I don't really count that as. That was bollocks.
To take off the fucking rose-colored glasses there, stud. The other question...
I'm serious. I mean, he took one step and then booted the ball away. It was bullshit. It was worse than Declan Rice's, which was also bullshit.
All right, one last...
against Brighton, but it was last season. It doesn't matter, and I'm not going to let Danny get to me.
Okay. Even though he already has. One last thing that I wanted to ask you about, and this is not about your club, but this is the question I posed to the group.
Yes, Wolves are going down.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Was that not it? Sorry.
Are Villa officially in the title hunt?
I get nervous saying yes, only because of what happened last year with the fixture congestion and how they ended up needing to fuck some stuff off.
Yeah, but they're winning in both right now. They're winning in both.
I know now they are, yeah, but it's a fragile thing, right? I mean, we were, potentially 7 points clear 7 days ago.
We're 2 or 3 injuries away from.
Yeah, fair. I just wanted to get your opinion on that.
And don't forget how they started the season, right? I mean, that's the only thing I'd be concerned about saying yes. But points wise, where the table is, yeah. I mean, you'd have to say they're in there. You'd have to say they're in the hunt, and they're in the hunt until they prove otherwise themselves, I think.
All right, perfect. And also, Graham, we're going to hold off on your shot of Malort because Mel should be the one who pours it for you, and you should have to drink it in front of her face. So when you come back, you will do your shot of Malort then. And one more thing, Graham.
Perfect.
Bit never gets old. Never gets old. I love that bit. All right, so moving on from that, because we're already close to an hour, and we still got all the other games to fucking talk about.
You've gotten through 2.
Leeds and Liverpool, the dullest first half of all first halves that could ever first half.
I also watched the first half of that game.
and then it was 2 goals in 2 minutes for Liverpool. 10 minutes later, 2 goals in 2 minutes for fucking Leeds. Liverpool get the lead, and then Leeds gets it at the death in extra time. But the bigger story in that regards, because really the game isn't what we're going to talk about here. It's going to be the comments and what's going on with Mo. But Liverpool fucking capitulate again.
Yeah.
Even when they started the season 5-0, it was 3 of those games they gave up fucking leads.
Yeah.
Multi-goal leads.
Yeah.
It never felt convincing at the beginning, and now it's a glaring problem. In January, they need to back up the fucking Brinks tanks at fucking Crystal Palace and go, give us Gay now. or they better have the option. They better know who the fuck they're going to get, but they need a ready-made center back to take Konate out of the lineup right fucking now. Because I guarantee you Van Dijk's play improves with a younger, faster center back next to him, right?
Yep.
He needs someone... He'll know what to do. Even though he's aging, he's still a very fucking smart player. He wears the captain's armband for a reason. He's good at what he does. As much of a cunt as he is, and as much as I fucking hate him, he's good at what he does.
Yeah.
And he just needs the right partnership. And I feel like the wingbacks get figured out if the center pairing gets figured out. But but they're just rolling over for fucking everybody, it seems.
Yeah, I mean, in a weird way, like the way that they've capitulated a few times feels very relatable because like currently, I think like as I've said, I think like the players at Wolves are at least some of them potentially like better than what the points tally shows, but like if a goal gets scored against us, we turn into like a Sunday League team, like a team of people that have barely played together. And Liverpool, obviously on a much higher level than us, like has this weird ability to like, they will concede a goal and then just like look like they have lost all semblance of a plan.
Yeah.
Like it's obviously not like a total collapse in the same way, but it's like, you will see them just like turn into like, I would say like a very average looking team. It's like, yeah, this would be like a really good mid-table team. But like for a team that's trying to compete for a title, you're like, whoa, what is happening when you concede a goal and suddenly like everything looks different? And honestly, it makes me like slightly swayed towards the, like the little think pieces that have been done about like the potential effect of Diogo Jota's passing, because like
it's been talked about a lot on this show.
I mean, like
that has an effect on these.
I mean, certainly, like I don't know anything behind the scenes. Maybe the manager is a problem. Like I don't know, but like you have to start looking at those like kind of like psychological things where it's like, okay, what's going on here? Because like this is a team full of like elite talent, and like you should not be like conceding a goal, especially to like a newly promoted club. No offense whatsoever to Leeds. I wish I were having your season, but like and being like and having any thought other than like, okay, but we're Liverpool and we still have a 2-goal lead and we're gonna still fucking win this game.
Right. That should just be the automatic attitude, and they seem to have. They're bereft of all confidence in that regards. Like they give up a goal, it's like, oh fuck, like really big time. Now, I want to talk real briefly about Leeds, and then I want to go into obviously the Mo Salah and Arne Slot situation. For Leeds, 3 matches ago, you were wondering about Farke out. Like Farke's attitude was, hey, we're 11 points at the third through the season. We ended with 33 points. We're fucking safe. Stop it. Right. And people didn't like that. We want to see some. And then they lost a few matches and they gave up a lot of goals in those matches. 3 matches. They played City, Chelsea, and Liverpool. They went 1-1-1.
Yeah.
They scored 7 and they gave up 7.
Yep.
If you shoe on your foot, you'd be fucking losing your mind right now. I'd be losing my mind right now. I'd be happy as hell with that. Yeah.
Well, and I mean, from my personal specific perspective, like last season with Wolves, I got really into like looking at like just the sort of like the remainder of the schedule and what does the math say in terms of like where can we get points? And like with this, it's like, okay, well, those points against Liverpool and Chelsea, whatever, like those are in the bank now, and you don't have to play that fixture again.
Yep.
And like that means that there is less pressure on the next time they play Burnley or Wolves or West Ham or whatever. Like a team where normally a newly promoted side would be like, got to get points there. It's like, well, we got that point from Liverpool, so like we're a little bit better off than we would have been. And it's like, I don't know, I like not to be like a classic bean counter in that regard, but it's like, I don't know, if I'm Daniel Farke, I'm like doing pretty good actually.
I've been doing that for the past 3 seasons with Everton. Looking at the minute you get to February, who do we have? Like I very specifically remember our match going, this is mutually beneficial to both people for a draw.
Yeah.
What was our game? A boring ass draw. It was because it was exactly what both clubs needed to survive. Because nothing else beyond surviving fucking mattered in that situation. And particularly for us, at that point, we were a little bit ahead of you.
Yeah.
So for us, it was go to their building, get a draw. We know we're fucking safe. Well, and for like, you, it's get a point. We're probably safe.
Yeah, and like exactly to put like a exact point on it, it's like, you know, when I was doing that, when I was like looking at those remaining fixtures, there were a lot of people saying like, oh, well, don't, you know, assume that we're going to win against Ipswich. And I'm like, I'm not assuming anything. I'm just saying that when at the moment that we play Ipswich, we will be sitting there thinking like we could take a draw, and they're going to be thinking nothing but a win, and an emphatic win is going to keep us up.
Right, which then means you win, which I believe you ended up doing.
We did. We went down 1, but again, like these things, like game states matter, but also like season states matter, where it's just like you have those in the bank and it allows you to play in a different way. And I saw that then, like when we played, it was like we played in a different way where it's like we went behind, but also it's like, look, all we have to do is get another goal back. It's a draw and we're fine. And Ipswich are still in the shit.
Right.
And like Leeds are going to be in that same situation, you know, in 4 months or whatever, which is that they've banked these points and they're gonna be like, okay.
When we talk about the drop, it's always we need 3 teams to be worse than us, right? Yeah. And for the case of both Wolves and Burnley, you look above you, it ain't going to be Leeds.
No.
It ain't going to be Leeds. They're going to fight. They're going to fight. They may go down.
Yeah.
But you're going down with them.
Right.
Right? That's the case. And it's for Leeds, this is points you didn't expect, points at the right time.
Yep.
Now what they have to do is go to London this next weekend and not lay an egg against Brentford, because that is a massive 6-pointer for them.
Right.
They can't go fucking lay an egg in that match. They have to fucking succeed. But it feels like, again, it just the feel I've been getting from this team is they feel like a team that wants to stay up. They feel like a team that can stay up, and they also feel like a team that's been built to stay up.
And hopefully for them and for Geckel, they can see now, like, we got these points that we weren't expecting. We get to go there, and like, even though it's an away game, even though, yes, we really ought to get 3, like we need to get 3 points out of this to stay up. Like, you don't have to feel that urgency, and you can just play your natural game.
One does us well.
Yeah.
Yeah, one does us perfectly fine. And that moves us on to always the best thing to do when your team is struggling defensively is to take your talismanic, arguably one of the best Premier League players of all time. I think you could put him on the top 10 list easily, the short list.
Right.
And not fucking play him, exile him completely from the team, and be fucking mean to him. And Mo doesn't talk a lot.
Yeah.
But when he talks, he's E.F. Hutton, man. People talk. He talks, people fucking listen, man. That is all there is to it with him. And he came out and just basically said, I've been thrown under the bus. I am apparently the scapegoat for everything that is wrong with this club. And it's like, no, your fucking $130 million striker decided to take the entire, first quarter of the season off.
Right.
And isn't scoring you goals. Like, that's the fucking problem offensively. Yes, is he not scoring and putting up the numbers he normally does? Sure.
Right.
But that's because his midfield has to worry about what the fucking defense is doing. Because the defense is fucking horrific. So he's a man on an island. Very easy to double team him. Like, it just, all of these things get layered, and he's the guy you want to, like, he's won you 2 fucking titles.
Yeah.
Two more Premier League titles than you've ever won. He's been the leading goal scorer in this league a lot. Like, if he was already going to be the problem, then why'd you give him the extension?
Yeah.
Like, and then I'm not sure. Did you see what Arne Slot said in the pressers today?
I saw some of the reaction to it. Yeah.
Essentially asked if Mo's ever going to play a game for Liverpool again. He said, I don't know. We'll see. The Dutch, a literal people, we know this is very well documented. But for fuck's sakes, you got an Evertonian defending a fucking Liverpool player right now. What the fuck are you doing, Slot? I've said enough. Please, sir, your thoughts.
Well, it's kind of like what I was saying about Jeff Shee, where it's like, dude, aren't you media trained? Like, why would you say anything? Like, if you are ever in doubt, just say nothing. Say something that, like, doesn't mean anything. But yeah, I mean, it's just
like we say in Portugal, bread is bread and cheese is cheese.
That is the kind of shit you say.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's just, I mean, I don't know. It feels like part of the modern game now is like this sort of discourse that like some of these players are like inevitable. I mean, like the whole Erling Haaland robot comparison where it's just like, and like for a player like Mo Salah, you just sort of just like become accustomed to like, he's going to score goals regardless.
Right.
Like this guy, like, fucking, even if you don't even watch the games, you play play FPL. You're like, this guy's gonna score goals. It doesn't even matter what's gonna happen. But like it obviously, like the people who are running these clubs and who are doing the recruitment or whatever must hopefully remind themselves constantly that that's not the way that football works. Is that like yeah, if you had a striker like Erling Haaland, someone who's like central, and they were missing a ton of shots, that's one thing. But it's like, I don't know that I watched Mo Salah miss a ton of shots this season. Like, Liverpool's attack just was like dysfunctional and not using him for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I don't know. It's a complicated situation for him, but like, yeah, the Cobs definitely could have been handled better on that one.
It's just insane. It's absolutely insane. And I would like to relish in this because they're my bitter rivals, but it's kind of fucking sad.
We're unmuted and back. We're going to come in on the ice cubes.
Perfect. Rounding out the rest of the league, and so that happened. Man City 3, Sunderland 0, Spurs 2, Brentford 0, Chelsea 0, Bournemouth 0, Everton 3, Forest 0, Newcastle 2, Burnley 1, Brighton 1, West Ham 1, Palace 2, Fulham 1. We already kind of touched on it. Phil Foden is on a fucking roll right now, scoring a ton of goals, and the lead is now down to 2 points at the top of the table, and Graham still feels relatively confident, but this is what City does. They just slowly, methodically walk behind you. It's like Jason or Mike Myers. You just hear the footsteps walking behind you the whole fucking time.
Yeah, I mean, mostly been interacting with Phil Foden in terms of my FPL, and that's been going great.
There we go.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I tend not to engage in this kind of like discourse or comparison, but like this like, I know Phil Foden has had his moments of like jumping onto the scene and then, you know, hasn't been hitting it for a little bit and then comes back. But like this one feels a little more like, I don't know, it just feels a little more like wholesome, a little more whole, where it's like he is taking on more responsibility here. And like you said earlier, like that's going to pay dividends for City in other ways. Like
it's like he's going, up. I'm the guy now. I am Silva now. This is my team, right? Like, my striker scores goals, but I run the fucking show. I'm De Bruyne. He's starting to get that feel to him. Right. And that's because he was anointed that guy. That's who he was supposed to be. Sunderland, I will say, I'm a little surprised they capitulated three goals. Now, I will say they're going to be a much tougher out at the Stadium of Light. They've proven to be that, but normally a team that plays a low block and plays a low block well, which Sunderland does, tends to fuck with City's mojo. Yeah. We've seen this happen a ton of times with them. And this time it just didn't. And I was a little surprised with that with Sunderland, but also, frankly, Sunderland could be completely looking past them because it's the Tyne Wear next weekend. Yeah. And that's all that fucking matters in their brain. I mean, they're hosting Newcastle next weekend, and that's really all that fucking matters. So I wouldn't be surprised if maybe they're just like, whatever we do, we're going to probably lose against City. Who fucking gives a shit? No red cards, no injuries. Let's just worry about the next match, because that's what really surviving one
Yeah.
Tineware 2.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all it's about.
And honestly,
right?
there might be some fans who put those in the other order.
Not wrong. Not wrong. If they went down in 20th place and had only 2 wins on the year and they were both against Newcastle, Sunderland supporters would be like, I mean, it could be worse.
Yeah.
Could be worse. For Tottenham and against Brentford, Xavi Simons finally does what Xavi Simons was brought in to do. Now, granted, they were constantly throughout the summer trying to bring in a 10 the minute that Madison was hurt and they knew he was out for the year. And they, the most famous one would be they thought they had Eza and they lost out on Eza.
Hilarious.
But this is what they needed, right? A goal, an assist. He's doing what they need to do. And on the Brentford side, I'm still not our preseason predictions, I put them as going down. I feel like they were up, they're slowly creeping down, and if it's not at home,
yeah.
And then they've had really bad Januaries before, and it's just still smell test makes me feel like this might be the team to fucking fall down the table for me.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that one. This fixture, I really wish Xavi Simons had ever come to Wolves. He was besties with Fabio Silva when he was on loan, and that would have been fun, but we all know how it would have gone. But yeah, I agree with you on Brentford's assessment. I just think, I don't know, they probably have a more competent ownership than us because that's not that hard. But at the same time,
it helps they have a striker that's scoring goals. That helps a ton.
Yeah, but at the same time, I agree that I just haven't been particularly wowed by much from Everton the last 18 months or so. Whether it's on the pitch or
you mean Brentford?
Brentford, and whether it's been on the pitch or their transfer dealings. And I agree with you. A bad January window for them could be the thing that kind of is the catalyst for them falling further down. So
Chelsea Football Club and Athletic Football Club Bournemouth played a professional match in the English Premier League this weekend.
Yes, they did.
That would take care of the coverage of that match, other than the fact that Cherries needed that point because they've been slipping big time as of recent, and a shutout doesn't hurt because that defense has been leaking goals as of recent. So, Chelsea, big old fucking roller coaster. Who the fuck knows with that team?
Concur.
They're fucking baffling. Kieran Dewsbury Hall is on fucking fire right now. Obviously, it was an own goal, but he was the one who made the play, doing the little Cruyff turn on the goal line, on the end line and everything. And then really, for Everton, Tiano Berry scored a goal. That's the young striker you bring in. You've seen him for multiple weeks now, have goals called back, doing all the hard work, and you're just like, for the love of Christ, let the kid fucking score. And on that goal, Ilian Jai has the ball at his feet. Charlie Alcaraz is absolutely the more wide open player. And that ball, everybody knew that ball was going to fucking Barry. And he was either scoring or he wasn't, but it was going to be Barry that was going to have that opportunity. And he finally put it in the back of the fucking net.
Yeah, you've got a very well-run football club there. I'm sure you're very happy about that, and I hate you for it.
Just to get rid of the ownership group and things get better. That's the headline. And then get a new stadium, which those are both things you could use.
Fosun had a plan for a new stadium at one point, and then they quietly never talked about it again.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's how it's got. Forest, it was. Dyche doesn't have a striker right now, right? He's down to his third choice without Awoniyi or Wood. And let's face it, Wood played for him at Burnley. He would love to have Chris Wood right now because I guarantee if Chris Wood is healthy by the start of January, he's going to score double digits goals again, he does every year. Yeah. Every year he's low key. Nobody ever notices it. Every year he's in the Premier League, he scores 10 fucking goals. It's just what he does. And especially if it's Dyche will just be like, we're just going to feed him the ball 20 times a game, and he's going to inevitably score at least one with that big, meaty forehead eventually.
Part of the reason Nuno had to go, I think Chris Wood scored a hat trick against us, and I'm pretty sure it was an early kickoff, too. So that's bringing back some pretty scarring memories right now. And I promise you, if he's healthy by the time we play our reverse fixture, he's scoring that hat trick again.
Oh, without a fucking doubt. Magpies are really starting to gain steam. Newcastle's really starting to kind of figure it out. Obviously, fucking 5th place to 12th place right now is divided by less than 4 points, right? It's tight, but the feeling, it seems like Newcastle is starting to get together. It feels like Newcastle are figuring out the Champions League and Premier League life balance, which they were having struggles with before, particularly at the start of the season. But the right people are healthy. I think Livramento being healthy is massive for them as a wingback, because, he brings a different element to their team as far as being able to push up the wing and get more done. But and for Burnley, it's like, hey, nice try, but I mean, they just kind of feel destined to go down to me.
Oh yeah, they're going to go down.
Yeah,
but also, I understand you have Alan here next week. The least that they can do, is to still give us $60 million for Jurgen Strand-Larsen in January.
Yeah, that's the least they can do. Just sell them to him. Yeah, even though Weiss is now healthy and they got Big Dick Nick, but hey, why not? Give us $60 million for him. If it wasn't for the fact that Barry scored, I'd be like, I'd take fucking Larson in a second. Yes.
Speaking of Barry, Keith Kern says at this rate, Barry will be 2.5 goals this season.
Yeah, pretty much. But you know what? I'll take the fucking one. I will take the fucking one.
Honestly, Strand-Larsen of Everton, I could see it.
Makes a lot of sense. Honestly.
Dude,
that one makes a lot of sense.
I am buying you the very first Strand-Larsen Everton jersey.
Heard.
I'm sorry, Stan Larson.
Yeah, Stan Larson.
I mean, this is something we didn't talk about in the Wolves segment, but I'll just mention it here. Like, there is a genuine scenario, I would say an increasingly likely scenario, that like the mission in January is to buy a championship team. And And I mean, obviously there are some players who are going to want to leave regardless, but like to actively get rid of players who are like of a Premier League standard.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
like,
just start selling them now. Get the value you can for them now in January in the more pricier window. And then just start to prepare yourself for
because we know that like an escape on this level has not happened before. I still think like that's predicated on different circumstances, but still like the math again is just not mathing. So.
Right. So I'd like to, this is my one pot shot at you. I'd like to say maybe you'll finish in 19th and Burnley will finish in 20th. But right now I'm a little bit more concerned about you guys breaking the Derby County worst points total.
Oh, I think it's got to be in the conversation. just like I was saying before, I would like Derby County at this point in their season, at the point that we are, had 6 points. And so that tells you everything you need to know about the back half of their season. So like, math is a little bit weird on that. However, it's one of those where like you can't rule it out at this point.
Shit, you all scored a goal. Like that should be celebrated because there for a while, the last couple of weeks of the show, I've been going, can Wolves even fucking score?
That is the participation trophy of comments.
It was the first goal. Here, I have a note for it too. Because, I came with all my notes for Wolves. That was the first goal in 552 minutes. That's 9 hours and 12 minutes of football for us.
Wow. Yeah, you're not going to catch Burnley. That's what we're going to say about Burnley. Seagulls had tons of chances, yet fell behind. And really, it all comes down to the end when they get their equalizing goal. And I'm like, I've seen plenty of time. So what you're telling me the handball rule is if that happened and he had kicked it directly into the net, it would be ruled out for handball. But because it happened and it went to another man and he kicked into the net, it's not a handball?
VAR makes fools of us all.
Back to your game. How was one a handball and one not a handball? They both fucking handballs.
You could argue that the second one was like slightly lower in our game, but it's like I really feel like we're splitting hairs here.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, I know this battle has been long lost, but like, I would way rather just like a professional seasoned referee look at a thing in the moment and be like, that's a handball. And I could be like, I disagree. I'm frustrated. The end.
Right. It's over. Well, and then there was a high kick in the build-up of the play, too. Like a textbook dangerous play. He swings his foot around and almost hits the guy in the head. Like, your foot in lower half is at the level of his eyes. That's called a dangerous play.
Yeah.
Like, it almost felt like they were trying to find reasons to not disallow the goal, and it was again, I'm very baffled by what the standards of the handball rule are. Let's figure out. I've been if it hits the sleeve,
right,
it's not a handball. If any part of the ball is touching the sleeve, not a handball.
Yeah.
Right? And that's just it. If it hits below the sleeve, fucking handball. Not intent, not anything, just it's a fucking handball.
That's the problem with the whole sleeve thing. I don't want to get on this.
Yeah, I got you. We've been going for a minute, and we still got a few more things to talk about.
But it's like pretending that the sleeve is like the out of bounds line. Mm-hmm. Like the ball doesn't interact with the sleeve the way it does with the out of bounds line. Anyway,
yeah,
it's ridiculous.
Fair. The point is that I want there to be something very definitive. That you just look at it and go, this is black or white. This is a handball or this is not a handball. As opposed to, or if there's a level of interpretation, let that level of interpretation be for the referee on the field, not the eye in the sky that's going to overanalyze it.
Did this meaningfully impact the play? Yes or no?
Very simple. Like the eye in the sky has got way too much time to think about it, and the English are too fucking nice to each other to disagree about something. And then finally, two amazing fucking goals in the first half. That goal from Wilson.
Yeah. That
1-2, and then to hit it on the outside of his left. That was fucking nasty. Oh my God, what a goal.
Here's how I turn this into a tale of Wolves' downfall.
Heard.
I witnessed on TV, not in person. I'm not that rich. João Moutinho score basically that exact same goal against Brentford, like 4 seasons ago. Mm-hmm. And that was great. I love that he did that for Wolves, and the fact that like our team has fallen down so much that like a player on João Moutinho's level is like a pipe dream for us. And relating it to this game, I was looking at this game and thinking about how Adam Wharton and Harry Wilson are both players. Adam Wharton, I know we are linked to at one point, but they are players who came up through the English pyramid in various ways. And those are players that like Wolves fans will know, not if we see a link to them, do not get excited, because this ownership group is not interested in buying players who they think is like, a slightly inflated price because it's from the English system.
Right. Oh, it's 10 million more than we're willing to spend.
And it's like, I don't know. Maybe you have someone who, even if they've only played in the championship, still knows like the level of physicality that's required for these leagues. And so it's just like, yeah, watching the replay of this game was particularly frustrating for me as a Wolves fan, because I'm like, even though Fulham like not having like the greatest season, but like still two teams that are like doing okay recruiting wise, and Crystal Palace literally like breaking my heart every time they play.
And Palace, how about this? Breaking your heart, I'm going to like step on the glass just a little bit harder.
The goldfish.
Yeah, exactly. Like the goldfish. They're in 4th place, and they've won an FA Cup. I mean, dare to fucking dream, Wolves. Dare to fucking dream.
Sure money.
I believe Graham missed his bet, but it doesn't fucking matter. He isn't here, so he can piss off. I lost, and because Barnes didn't get in, so that would have made it mute, but Dan Burn did not get a header on goal, although Njai did get his shot on goal. So I am down $937.
Big Sam's Lock of the Week.
Danny, did you know that 7.692307769% of the time, it works 100% of the time? AKA, I've gotten one bet right this year. You know how many bets that is better than Sam? One bet better than Sam, because Sam has gotten 0 right for the past 3 seasons. I'm going very simple. I'm taking a over-unders for this week on a 2-game parlay. I'm going to take the over 3.5 in Liverpool and Brighton. They have scored at least 4 goals in their last 6 times they faced each other. So there's going to be goals in that match. And I'm taking the under 2.5 in the Tyne-Wear Derby. This is 1-1 or 1-0, and that is it. It's going to be a or a 2-0, but it's going to be a cagey game. And if that hits, I get plus $330. So that is going to wrap it up.
How much injury time in the Tyne-Wear Derby?
Oh,
Due to injuries, fights, whatever.
Fighting each other, hitting horses. I don't know. There's a lot.
Fights
that
in the stands.
Fights in the stands. Well, it's at Sunderland, so it'll be relatively tame. With St. James Park, that'd be another thing. That is going to wrap it up, boys and girls. Danny, do you have any parting words for us?
Oh, Lord, someone please fire Jeff Shee. Go watch my other podcast, Whole Lot of Wolves. We're doing our best.
I got something here, and I know we run real long, but it has to be discussed because it's about football. Ultimately, it's about football. Yes, this blends over to politics, and I know people are very divisive about the current political system in the United States, but that entire draw for the World Cup, and this is a reference to Zach and Miri Make a Porno. This was Infantino and Trump literally doing a double Dutch rudder to one another, just looking each other in the face and jerking each other off. And if you ever need to be reminded, as much as we love this game, we love footy. We really love footy. If you ever need to be reminded what is the most corrupt sports organization in the entire world, look no further than Infantino deciding, you know what? Trump didn't get the Nobel Peace Prize, so we're going to create a brand new award, the FIFA Peace Prize, very specifically so that Trump could get his quote-unquote Peace Prize.
Yeah.
And the level of just choking on cock that Infantino was doing was fucking embarrassing. And I don't care what side you're on, anyone looking at that went, ugh, dude, fucking cringe, man.
I mean, it would be surprising if it weren't Infantino, who has priors for these things. And I imagine you guys have UK listeners. You guys have been around long enough. If you have any UK listeners who have maybe not seen all this before, it's us in the US have seen so many people, do their best to lavish Trump with whatever kind of praise they can conjure out of nowhere. Right. It has become sadly kind of a weekly exercise now, but since he came onto the political scene, that has been kind of the constant, people trying to get on his good side at various levels of overtness.
Absolutely.
And even so, this was over the top by several orders of magnitude. I mean, I clocked it immediately when I saw the schedule. I was like, oh, he got Village People do YMCA because it's literally Trump's favorite song.
Right.
No one knows why it's his favorite song, but literally that's the only reason he did that was because it's Trump's favorite song.
Well, I mean, he had his blowing Billy moment. So, I mean, YMCA about going to fucking, where men would go hook up at. So, I mean, just saying. I mean,
just saying.
If you're going to take the song literally for what its message is,
but yeah, the level of glazing that was happening for weeks, really, because it's they announced the Peace Prize, I think at the beginning of November or something. Mm-hmm. It was a month between its inception and its first award. And I am so interested to see who wins the second, because they said it's going to be annual. Yeah. Every single year. Do you think they're going to give it to Trump every year?
I don't. One of my friends, a fellow Evertonian, said the 2030, you know exactly who the fuck it's going to. Fucking the sheik of fucking Saudi, because it's going to be in Saudi Arabia is where the World Cup's going to be. You know it's going to get given to him. Put the fucking money on it. I guarantee you if there's odds on it already, it's even money for him to fucking win.
You know what this makes me think of? I just imagine, so like every year they give out the FIFA Peace Prize to like some other like dictator or fascist. Or
Then I guess BB's getting it next year.
Yeah. Like they give it to somebody of like extremely dubious public standing.
Yeah.
It makes me think of like the old Captain Planet cartoons where like they were all the good guys, and then there's like the bizarro version of all the good guys, and that's the cast of bad guys.
Yes.
It's like there's gonna be the Nobel Peace Prize, which is gonna be all these like boring economists and like scientists and like a poet.
Right.
And then you have like the FIFA Peace Prize, which is like the most dubious, weirdest group of people you've ever met.
Well, hey, you know what? You know, Orange Man, you got your participation trophy. Good job. Well done. In a world where we've been trying to outlaw them, I'm glad to see you got yours. That's going to wrap it up, boys and girls. And next up is DU Does the EFL, where, not the EFL, DU Does EFL, where we're going to talk about a little bit that went on with the championship, but the big thing is everything that went on with the FA Cup second round. And there are some great fucking stories. And we also already have the draw, so I'm going to mention a few notables as well. After that, it's going to be injury time, where we preview the weekend's action. We talk about the beers we've been drinking, check in on our fantasy and our adopted clubs. Producer Mel, should somebody want to find a way to support the show, how do they go about doing that?
You scroll down. Yep. Right now, scroll a little bit down and you see that link right there. That's the link you click on, the one that says patreon.com/DU Football Show.
Excellent. And Danny, as always, thank you so much for joining us. You were fabulous. Till next week, everybody.
Oh, good night. Say good night, Danny.
Oh, good night, Danny.